Oh goodness. Oh goodness. do 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 do. Seriously? This thing is saying that's annoying. Don't mind me, I'm just doing all these little things. Crud, I didn't get all my tags the last time. What did I write? Dingity dang. Well, we're gonna hit done, so I can at least update that. Good. Why does it say MOBA action? No! That's not right. Alright, reload this. What information do you tell me now? There we go, now it looks correct. That's what I like to see. And hi everybody. Welcome to another lovely evening. Don't mind me, I'm just still setting up things. But I'm here. I can see chat, so actually I'm gonna rip that out of there so I can see it by itself. Don't go joining back. No, become one of your own. No more new time. And I think everything is there. Alright. So I'm gonna continue on with Ralts. That's the idea. I got my orange slices, I got some water. What else do I... Am I forgetting something? No, I got water. I don't need a caffeinated drink every time. I might take one later when I continue working, but that's different. Right now, I'm not tired at all. 'Cause, you know, one cup of coffee late in the afternoon. Alright, and looks like Teknoaxe is going. Take it down just a tad. Alright, now put that to the side and forget it! Do 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 do.
All right.
I guess since that song is ending, it does say introduction. Should probably click it. There it goes. My little controller here. I believe I'll cue that one up next. Hi, welcome to the evening. 7 p.m. now. As you can see, I have my orange slices, so I'm all ready. And that was one of the things I was actually thinking about when I was preparing is how important rituals are, actually. When it comes to doing something that's creative, a lot of people complain, it's like, well, I don't have the inspiration, I'm not in the mood, and it's like when it hits me, I'm usually not. It's like, well, one of the tips I was given a long time ago was actually learning to create a ritual to get you into that mindset and that mood. So it could be as simple as peeling an orange, for that matter. How about that? If you don't feel like you're in the mood for something, develop a trigger that every time you do this one act, you go right into drawing. Even if you don't end up really drawing too much, the point is that you do this prior to it. So it allows your mind to have some action that shifts you into that gear. So it's more of like rituals are very kind in that way, is allowing us to develop a mood. And it can take time. I mean, any habit, I think, takes about 60 days. I think that's what the official number was. And some odd end report I'd once read. And it sounds about right. I mean, 2 months worth of it, if you keep at a particular habit, you develop it. Hopefully it becomes a more permanent habit. But that's also average, because some people might take longer. No problem taking a little bit longer. But I was just thinking about that because it's usually one of those little things that we don't really think too much about. If you need that assistance to, like, well, I want to draw, but I never am when I have the opportunity, well, spend more time developing those particular rituals. And like I said, even if you sit down and draw for 10-15 minutes after you do it, the point is to then push yourself to do probably another 5 minutes after that. Make sure you can get a solid amount of time, and but work at it. Be patient with yourself. A lot of things I end up writing is like I'm usually always angry with time, mainly because everything takes so long. Well, we have to learn to be patient, I guess. That's why. Because normally I can turn down my headset, and I was like, this music is really loud compared to what I expect it to be. Then we should be good at levels. Clipping out. So there we go. But another bit of information, and actually I'd only just recently learned about this, despite it actually coming out on September 16th. On Cartoon Brew itself. And I never actually knew this one, but I'd actually seen a lot of her work. But she unfortunately has passed away at 87, but she's considered Australia's first woman animator, Anna Jaleef. I thought it'd be interesting to bring this up, mainly because, I'm very passionate about animation, and it's like I'm very sorry that I didn't know her by name, because she developed the Yellow Submarine was the one main thing that I knew of her work. So she had done the series with the Beatles. So that was the main piece of work that I'd known that she'd done, but she's done a lot more, contributed a lot more, and fortunately, she never quite got into the computer animation form of the industry, but she went on to do more than just what was considered in the time, because she was born in October 19th, 1933. She was able to develop her own career, but it took her so much extra effort and work to do it than a regular man at that time. I think it was 1955 when she finally she was breaking into her career. That's when she was first turned down because they said women don't animate, which is completely butt end of things to think about. But it's crazy that that was what it was at the time. Men were seen as doing everything, in this case even animation. And matter of fact, even when it came to doing any cartoons or anything, women were in inking and coloring. they weren't doing the animating. They weren't doing the major keyframes or any of the moment. They were just doing cleanup. That was what they were seen as supposed to be doing. We lose so much creativity when you be sexist. So it's not a. I'm glad that we're moving further away from that. Dang. The amount of struggle she had to go through to endure, that she had to endure just to be known or be heard, compared to her male counterparts, is just. It's tremendous how much she. It's inspiration to see how much she wanted this and how much she loved it. And now I'm taking this from Cartoon Brew's own little article mainly. So unfortunately, because I didn't know anything about her until today. But I thought I might. Can I full screen that? Yeah, look at that, I did. Minimize that. No, to be honest, I've never heard of Bob Godfrey's Great, but this is an Oscar-nominated film that she directed. And this is just a trailer for it that I want to preview real quick. So I will pause that. Now, if this was, I believe, this is credited in the 1950s and 1960s.
Thank you, Rocky. We'll let you know.
There's that squash and stretch. And you can see how many frames they actually do. Now, that's gonna this one little thing, it only bugs me because you can't see the elbow. So there's not enough information. That hand looks like it's broken. Immediately off the bat, that hand looks like it's broken right there. Because I don't know of anyone that can do this and squeeze a little duck and still make the arm look like it's flat. So it has to be this arm that's squeezing the duck. But they don't show the elbow, so it looks like it's the closest arm to you, so then it suddenly loses information. But I can also argue in the same case where I understand this. When it comes from an animation standpoint, all you had to do was the upper arm and the hand and animate that. The rest of the body could have stayed still. So, sorry, analyzing already before even finishing watching it. But this reminds me of like a School of Rock. A School of Rock. Is it? Schoolhouse Rock. Oh, look at that. It's available now. But yeah. Come on. Don't be a jerk. Really? My controller's not working for me. I might have to reset that. Goodness. Not what I hoped. But that is very old. But it's still so nostalgic, so interesting to see the stages, especially because this is early animation that we're seeing a lot of times. So in many cases, it's it's really, it was before my time, definitely. 1975 Oscar-winning animated short, great, because this was, I believe, only a half-hour long short, and she's credited for having have done several shorts and series. But unfortunately, like I said, I didn't know very much about her until today. And so I was watching a lot of this stuff, and I was like, wow, this is happening all over in Australia while we're doing our own thing over here. Which, again, when she was 7 years old, that was 1940, so that was Donald Duck, I believe they even specified that. So when she was 7 years old, she was inspired to do animation from Walt Disney, which many people credit Walt Disney films as their inspiration to go out and do it. I'd have to say personally, mine is from video games, but that's only because of the nostalgic aspect my brother and I shared so often, and the fact that it just always seemed more interesting to see the narrative and see the animation, the fluidity. When I hit a button, it actually moved in a particular way, and then especially with nowadays with games being so action oriented, there's so much fluidity in the animation. But this being one of the big stepping stones from even back, at this time, this was such an awesome way of looking at it. And not only that, but this type of illustration always felt more characterized, more, I guess, more playful. Whereas for now, it has a little bit more rigidity. We have like very straight lines. Everything's like nothing is allowed to be uneven. So it's, in a sense, I guess, with the clarity that we have for the mainstream cartoons, there's a lot of reason because it's easier for people to digest. I don't know. I think it'd be better if we did more creative stuff, but I'm just one voice, anyways. Oh, hi! You're actually here today? You mean you're amongst the living? Kayla, there? Oh, wonderful. I'm very glad to hear. Kinda? Well, we're only, slightly awake. Myself. I'm trying not to go slam down like more caffeine because I've already had some, and I don't need to keep piling on. I don't need to stay up till like 3 a.m. in the morning doing work or sitting there pondering, you know, life and existence. Which I end up doing and not writing a single word other than like the first three on most of the chapters that I'm trying to write. Ah, thank you for the like, Jamie. But yes. So I thought I again to go back a little bit. Uh, Anne Jalefi or Jalefi. I'm not exactly sure. Jalaleaf. I could say it so many different ways, and I'm still to be butchering it probably. But one of the things that I really that stuck out though in this particular article is that she had developed many projects as a female protagonist. So she had an alter ego even that was a spacefaring housewife called Mrs. Cosmos. And I thought it was like now I'm gonna have to go look up Mrs. Cosmos and see what she had developed, what she had done. But this is she had her own alter ego that she animated. So it's like it just with me having BoogieMan and then Gremmel the Gremlin and then Ginge, those are I guess three aspects of my own which I seek to do more work in. So it's always inspiring to know that I'm not the only insane animator that's working on stuff. We're all a bit crazy when it comes to our own work. But I thought it would be good to just pay a little bit of a homage to Australia's first woman animator who has passed away at 87. Um, so, and she was born October 19th, 1933. So My chemo brother gets another person to add to his list of why October is better than November. So you're welcome there, Michael. Yeah, I don't give very much out, but you got an October one, and she's a pretty special person. So there you go. I'll give it to you. But yes. So how do we segue from that? We go into talking about Pokemon. I think that's one of the best ways. But like I said, if you want to read more about her, Cartoon Brew has an article up on her. There, it just went up on September 16th. So like I said, I just found this out today because I don't seem to be reading every single day Cartoon Brew, but I definitely recommend it. Again, they do not sponsor me. I just like reading their stuff. So so there, boom, look at that. Now I have everything up. All right. So like I said, I'm gonna be working on more Ralts today. I really want to figure out my background. That's really the big thing. So come on down, join, and we'll just I'll just talk to myself like I normally do with any other voice I might have. Which, matter of fact, do I have a voice mod? Ah, yes, I do. If I turn that on, then I can hear myself, and everyone can hear me in double time. How fun! Now you can't hear me in double time. I only do that because I've nifty buttons that I can't hear unless I actually have it active. And then I have an echo in my head, which makes me feel like I'm talking a bit slower now. I didn't think this well through. But it does allow me to do stupid things.
This. Yay. Oh, that's gonna get annoying. That one, no. No. No.
But a little bit of fun. Not that I know how to really work it into anything today. It's mainly just me gonna be going, okay. But hopefully I won't be too engrossed what I do. And that doesn't look right at all. Alright, that remote really did mess up. Reload. Technical difficulties. I guess I shouldn't be too shocked. There it is. There we go. So this is what I worked on last time, where I ended off. And like I had said before, there's a nice little trading card contest that's going on, but it won't be open until October 16th, and I really can't hear that echo. Until October 16th in so it's still quite a ways away. We still got about a month before you can start putting in entries, but the entries go up until the end of January 2022. And the announcement for it won't be until June anyways. So you have a little bit of time if you're thinking about it yourself. So I always recommend, if you have an idea that you're working on, you want to discuss it, come on in, say something. We'll talk about it. Otherwise, you can sit here and enjoy me doing one of the Pokemon that are not actually part of that grouping, because they only have a set of 8. So do look at their website. It's Bulbasaur, Charizard, Pikachu, Galarian, Rapidash is one of them. So they said no regular Rapidash. So sorry, everyone that loves the classic. Then we have it's supposed to be Greninja, Cramorant. What are those last two? I really was trying to work at memorizing this stuff. And I already know that I got it out of order because Greninja and Cramorant are the last two, not the 5th and 6th one. Oh, nuts. Am I going to have to go look it up? But again, you can look up the contest. Matter of fact, if you put in Pokemon trading card contest, it should come up right away on Google. So definitely suggest always read the FAQs. But if you have any questions yourself, you can always ask me. I went through them too. But wait, did I open that up twice? I must have. So close one. So background. The biggest thing that I really want to work at is getting the getting the idea of how this looks, because right now I have more of a fisheye kind of design going on that I did not quite do with Ralts, because Ralts has the vanishing point right behind him. So I have to figure out, how do I want the rest of the world to look, and do I need it to be flat? Or do I want to keep this interesting shot as I do? I think one of the biggest things is just messing around with it and drawing out a few different ways I could do this. But I am gonna go make sure it's on that one. Go to the pencil tool. 10 pixels. Now with this one, I'm gonna lock it, but put it down real low. Now, this was my original idea, actually. Let's mess around with this otherwise. So one of the things I can do is see if I can put it off center. Personally, I prefer things a little bit off center, because one, it generates more interest, especially if you're, like, my background's in photography. So there's always working with the 9 sections. So if you really want your subject to be the highlight, usually try to give them 6 portions. You can't ever really give them all 9 unless you're doing a real close up. And it never, and to me personally, it just doesn't work if you put them in center. So you put them center of the 6, boxes. So keeping our Ralts to the left or to the right would be best. And I was actually, before even stream started, I was actually already playing around with the idea of, like, could I just animate him doing a little bit? Like, I could. I mean, because we saw from the Bob Godfrey's Great, the was it the kind of work was, there's very minimal amount of frames, to be honest, but a lot of it wasn't was it, everything else around it wasn't necessarily moving, but you could see one serious amount of animation compared to everything around. So we could easily just have Ralts walk in and then do a few things with Ralts with the background. So one of the things I'll need to do when I get to inking and coloring is making sure this the actual condiments are all in the front on their own layer. So what am I trying to think of? I'm trying to be... Oh, can't hit shift until after. Actually, draw a line all the way across, and then we're just going to find a dot amongst it. This is where I could have actually just done the 9 sections, but it's not officially. It's favoring more to the left. It's not perfect. Nothing ever really is. Nothing really matters. Anyone can see. To me. Ding, 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 ding. Yeah, why not? Let's get the whole star going from it. Now, the biggest thing is the horizon line kind of dictates a lot when it comes to drawing. If you want to do fisheye, it's not too difficult when you give yourself a nice line to work with. I mean, it still can be. Because what, after all, if I'm going to try to do this real quick. Just going to try to do a quick Ralts. I'm definitely not doing it perfectly. I am. Especially because this Ralts. Yeah, I'm getting that head wrong, definitely. Getting the shoulders wrong. There's a lot wrong with it. But let's just start again. If I was to do this, then it would definitely be a little bit easier to, is it, punctuate the head as the closest object. So that's the case. More of a down. Do I want to do that though? See, I'm making this is the part where I was thinking like I'm gonna overthink this, aren't I? So, because in video games you probably want to make it nice and flat. That's one aspect I could do. Actually, that probably explains a lot more. I don't necessarily want this center point to be there. I actually might want it to be off the page. To the side. Because I'm definitely not going to do the fisheye because I can't. It's not going to. It's not going to work for the scene that I have set up. Let's say if I do something like this. Yeah. So now my vanishing point is just off the page. How do I want to do this then? Actually, I don't think I can do it. I think I need to do it 2-point. I actually think I need to do it as a 2-point. Because the way I'm thinking of the setup is I'm trying to think of I want the confectionaries to be some way over here. If we do it 2, obviously I have this, and then boom, this, which eventually gets cut off. So then this would have all the confectionery, and then we have our subject right here. I'll just Ralts with the little Ralts. Pressing his face into it. Now again, if I'm trying to do it to scale, Ralts is way too big. So then there's the... I'm going to just turn this off in the back. So what about Here's the edge. So again, this is still having like one vanishing point pretty off the screen here. If we just follow these out, and that bigger point is because there's sidewalk. Which then we could have Ralts right here, pressed up against the hole. And then our confectionery goodies over here. Trying to find the right shot for this is it's gonna be the difficult part. At the same time, do I really need to think any harder than what I have right there? Possibly just shrink Ralts so he's not like massive. Otherwise, this is a gargantuan Ralts. The problem is that the perspective I have, if I was actually to make him closer to the size he's supposed to be, he'd be way too small. This is almost like a personal window for him to look into. So how do I shrink the world, or do I make the world bigger behind him? Because that's another aspect, is that the world behind him right now is going to make him look really, really small. So if the buildings across the street are not big enough, he's gonna look incredibly large compared to the rest of his environment. Especially because most of the shots would actually be pretty. Which then would highlight the confectionery goodies more so. Actually, I might even want to look more at like a storefronts real quick, because I might just end up being, I can't show any of the confectionery goods, but then that defeats the point of the whole stopping unless I was to draw it in the reflection. That could be the key point. Which actually, if I think about it that way, it almost has its own imagery of making it seem like he's, like this particular Ralts is looking into it and then dreaming it, depending on how I actually have this set up. But plus, it'd look really weird if Ralts was looking at a Ralts face, candy cane or candy like a stick. A Ralts head, top of a stick. That's already sounding very dark. I'm sorry. That's darker than it should have. But yeah, I really want to change the perspective so Ralts is not so huge. But who knows? Maybe he's just a Gigantamax Ralts in this. That's what it's going to be. Now there's getting eye level with the confectionery goodies. Or there is, yeah, how do I want to frame you? How do I want to frame you? How do you frame Roger Rabbit? So if we got Ralt's head. We got a normal roll. Body that's pretty thin. Where do I want to put? If I put the edge the frame, the bottom three, I still only have Ralts taking up quite, like, they're not quite as much. Even with the hands nice and big, so they look like they're on the glass. Maybe. Of course, this does mean that, if Ralt's eyes are fixated on one thing, I can make it the hero right here. It'd be huge. Like, I don't know. But either way, it'd be its own little confectionery goodie. Maybe there's this hero one that Ralt has his particular eye set upon, and then that's where we're going with this. All this pre-planning. You know what? Just for my own fun of this, we have all of our other Ralts. It's not like this is a bad choice to go. Not so much a bad choice to go with. But I need a different. It's only because I'm trying to keep to the perspective of what Ralts is. So adding a world around him, he suddenly has to look so much smaller. He's no longer my hero. I think that would be the same problem if I went with a Bulbasaur as a choice out of those 8. Bulbasaur is particularly smaller, so the world, in order to keep him highlighted, the world has to be at a certain particular size in comparison. Gosh, maybe looking at even a reference for a... Uh-oh, we lost a few frames. That could be the difference. That's not at all what I really... Well, I didn't want that song. I didn't know there was a song. Yeah, see, I've already found a few references that are practically the exact same that I'm looking for, that perspective. Would Ralts be inside the candy store? Or is it looking at a window out from the outside in? And Ralts is also known to be very shy, so I can't imagine, unless it had its, trainer with him. And that's another thing, like, that's if a trainer found it in this setting. There's a lot of interesting perspectives, because again, there's always doing over the shoulder, which I'm seeing as one. So let's draw that one out. Let's see what that would look like. If we did, I don't want the eraser, I want this. Over the shoulder. So we got Ralt head. Now Ralt's head is so much bigger than the rest of their body. then, if this were the case, then we'd also have whole glass case. And these would all have the individual. Trying to make sure the beings. Just trying to make something that looks like it could be in there. All right. This is one idea. I'm very, very much just kind of roughing out a lot of this. Now, a lot of the pictures that are considering the angle that I'm looking at, which is still Ralt's head level, it's pretty much showing it at the candy counter. Now that's even better. I think I found even better angle. So let's see about this. Now, we still have a single vanishing point that's in the distance behind. But this does let Ralts kind of be highlighted more so. And I think I like this one. Because one, it allows me to highlight Ralts more so. Without losing. And I think, let's go back. Did I lock it? No. Just don't have the right. Yeah, may need to lift it up. But do you want it still off center? Where am I looking? We might end up cropping it a bit, but so if we were to pull this one off, now how this has is it's actually a counter on one side and I'd have Ralts on the other. Trying to think of how I can make it. I want to make this. Now, there won't be any glass effect unless I actually put up like a domed glass feature and say, yes, there's still something blocking Ralts. Then we lose the cuteness of him plastering his face. You know what? I'm overthinking this. That's what I knew I was going to end up doing. Just need to do this. Ralt's head. Make sure, yeah, cause the body is pretty thin. The body, because I know I got the body size wrong. The head is twice the size of the body. Or is it as wide as the legs spread outward. So the base of the head. Still roughly small. No. Ralts. I do want Ralt's face to be up, so we have to have the horn probably. And this is, and thank you, Kayla, for the actual, your little idea when you mentioned it. Let's put the horn against the. And this is in some. Yeah, the top of the head come down around the sides. So you gotta tuck in. Now this particular portion of the horn is so much closer. Actually, I almost feel like, because I'll be doing too much head if I don't have enough. It's really a lot wrapping around. Want to get even more curvature to that. Notice it's kind of quiet for me. So we're going to go for more curvature because we have the head up higher being placed. Now Ralt's neck should come out, which means that I don't. Does that seem right? Well, that's what we're trying to do. That's why we do these pre-drawings to get an idea. Is my perspective about right? So we got 1/2 curve. And this also then allows us to line up the eyes. Its eyes are usually centered on these particular. Which is a rarity to see a Ralt's eyes, right? I think so. Let's just make sure that's a lot larger. No. Part of the eye catching light from inside, which then Ralts has the black portion. So I want them. I don't want them looking directly at us. So that's not, because Ralts is looking at a confectionery goodie, which will be like front and center. We'll just see the top of it right here in front. So given that, I'd have to say then. And same thing over here. Then there's the secondary ring. Really have to work on that left eye. The right eye. I say left, yet I'm sitting here drawing right. Little small Ralt mouth. Feel like got a shoulder, then we got this. But then big ol' hand. Yeah, maybe not that big. So you got one arm. Now Ralt's body, upper body, is still pretty small. Matter of fact, say it even curves inward. See something similar. Which we'll have the next big ol' Ralt's handprint. So again, we're doing this because it's a that contest says in the day in the life of a one of the Pokemon they have listed. So thought, why not test out and see what it would be like to do different Pokemon. First, hey Liz, welcome. Nice to see you back. Just drawing more Ralts, seeing if I can get a better perspective than last week's. Or yeah, it was technically last week. Last Thursday's. So then, if I want to block this, we're going to block it in blue on a different frame. I would have the counter of it roughly about here. Now I have a vanishing point, which I'm no longer really, I guess, going off of because I drew Ralts all dead center. But so we got cake up and off to the side there. Now how this is I don't know, what would be your main highlight? What are you really after, Ralts? What are you after, Ralt? For some odd reason, all I can think of is like this big ol' shiny ball sorts. Like a big ol' like candy. Let's sit upon It's like cake. I'm trying to think of decoratively. Give it some fluff. Trying to keep that perspective of being right out in front. Because this is, after all, a hero piece where we're having a big it's highlighting big portion of our view. Now I'm gonna definitely have to change its perspective of what I have currently, because it's not quite as I should. But that's why we sketch things out. We work on these perspectives. Get to where we want it to be. Could have something like that and just repeat that, across the way, but have one particular one be, get this nice little kind of epic little sheen going on. Ching. Which is just catching the Ralts eye. That could work. It could just be a cupcake shop and I just copy and paste a lot of cupcakes but make one particularly larger. But then this also allows Ralt to be the biggest portion of it and therefore the highlight compared to everything else. This cupcake, though, is particularly small. So that is one thing to consider, because as for perspective-wise, it is incredibly small. Yeah, I'm just going to shrink those swatches down. Because if I was to consider cupcake the size of Ralts, I'm probably going to have this hang off. The edge to be more like right here. And we're just going to do copy, paste, and then move that one. It'll be on its own layer. Essentially, it's not the only one there. Because as you can see, it just did. If I did this, then they're like the front ones that are closest to the screen where Ralts is pressing their face in. That works a lot better. I don't have to worry about drawing so many confectionery goodies, and this allows Ralts to be the highlight, and he's just really admiring these cupcakes that have a nice shiny pearl or some sort of ball on the top that really highlights it. And this suddenly becomes so much better. Even though I do have to say I do enjoy this shot. And it could work for a Pokemon card, because even some of their cards that I was looking at have kind of like skewed views, but most of them work out exactly how they should. They just slightly try to bend it. This one's clearly bending it way beyond what is, because Ralt's way too big. Ralt is way too big in this picture. But in this, Ralt suddenly has a whole different. You know what he's looking at, and you know it's Ralt. I'm now trying to compare this to to what the trading card game contest is going to be. Because as they said, it should be the day of the life of a Pokemon. And if Ralt was the highlight, is Ralt being actually hidden too much with this kind of aspect, which the cupcakes will be in the front, very blurred background, which will probably be very indistinguishable, more of just like kind of mute colors. Because again, the idea is like to be out of focus behind Ralt, that we don't even know really what it is. So it'd be very, very kind of like brownish colors to say that it's kind of a cityscape still, or he's, you know, wandering around one of the cities. But this would allow Ralt to be the highlight of it, and it'd still work out pretty well. I could always lower the cupcakes down, so all we really see is the shiny part of it. Because that's the one aspect. It's like the lower I put those cupcakes, the more Ralt kind of stands out. In fact, there's that. I'm gonna go in here and just remove this one. Oh yeah, I kind of did mess it up. I want more. There, that way I make sure I get all that cupcake. Cut, paste. So now it's sewn, and I can just get rid of that line. Do, 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 do. That one. Just trying to get rid of some of these. So if that's the cutoff point. Alright, so duplicate those for me, and we'll shrink. Oops, one too many. So we're going to take this, and we'll play with it a little bit more. Large them, pull them down. So it's really more of just like you can see the pearl. Kind of want to see part of the... Maybe that is... That's one aspect. That could be one way of looking at this. That may actually be the way it works. Because I'll have to work at the perspective more so of the ones on the left and right. Oh, that's right. Don't have the... Yeah, it's not... Ralts is not facing center. Yeah. But again, the subject matter is Ralts, not necessarily the cupcakes. And it's also trying, because that's what I'm trying to scale how this one's coming together is how does the rest of the trading card game cards look in the same thing, and it does say that the Pokemon should be the main highlight. What's going on around? See, I almost want to say it probably comes down to how I design the cupcake. What's more iconic? Like if I put the pearl at the top, does it look like it's always a cupcake? Or do I need to put a swirl more so then you go, oh, that's a cupcake? Because, like, what's the most iconic version of what a cupcake should look like is usually that swirl of frosting going up, you know, and then up to that little, what is it? Little flip of the curve so it looks like a little mini wave at the end. So, like, if I did something like that, that would look more of like an iconic cupcake, and you can't really go wrong with going with pink frosting on one. At the same time, if I was to consider this, my perspective is a little bit weird, but there would be more than just what you're seeing there. So even if I go in here, copy, paste, this next set would be smaller. And sitting in front of that group. That must be... I'm going to do the same thing, copy, paste. Now this, it's going to be a little bit harder to see just because I've got no... they're not filled in. But I could make an army of them. There's so many more that are sitting in front too. Which then it's hard to not see that it is cupcakes. Of course, they're pretty well smashed together at this angle. Of course, if I just do the front, the front row of the cupcakes, then Ralts is a little bit bigger compared to the front glass that's there. Because that's actually one of the things I was looking at some of these references, is that yes, you have kids, but a lot of times the kid's still a little bit taller and looking down into it. Ralts never really gets that big, unless I'm getting his height wrong. Let's look that up real quick. Let's see if Ralts actually like more of a 4 foot size when he's... I'm thinking like 2 foot, but let's go to the BoogieMan. How tall does a Ralt get? Ralt will be 1 foot tall. 1 foot tall. Well, that's about the size of my foot, and I'd say a cupcake is about that size of my foot. Ralt's head would just be like peeking up and over most edges if he's only a foot. So these have to be on the particularly lower portion of whatever piece of glass is there too. Like whatever glass they're leaning up against. See, I'm trying to be very true to that perspective, it seems. Wow, you are short. Only a foot. How long is that on my arm? Like about tip of my finger down to there. So that's. And I'd say a cupcake is about like at least like 3 inches tall. Raul is very tiny. Being a foot, I look down at my foot and I go, that really is not that big. I'd stomp one. Because my feet are too big. You're right there. Yeah, they had to be different. Well, it's also like Ralt is cute because it's small and cuddly in that stage. It's not the Gardevoir, which goes like you're kind of scary, but you're pretty at the same time because you dance. But then that's a dance to death. Well, what way do you think I could change it up? Steer clear of the confections? Yeah. Maybe I can look at descriptions on Ralt and see if there's any other portion that kind of jumps out. Now, the horns on the head are used to read people and Pokemon's emotions. Maybe I could highlight that more so. But it's trying to show a day in the life of this particular Pokemon, which is known to be shy. Now, see, when you say apple or fruit tree, this is what comes to mind. Immediately start thinking of this. I can think of it like this. Yeah, berry bush. Berry bush is another idea, but I like the idea of just seeing him so small compared to like what is it? I had to draw this for just a moment, just to because I loved how my mind thought of this. Is this the because I know it's incredibly silly to think, oh yeah, of course we got this branches and then the tree just keeps going upward. Just the bird's eye perspective of the apple, like yeah, like look how big this is, and then you just have it straight down. Yeah, so that's that bird's eye perspective. The I know. I so Liz, thank you for that. When you said apple tree or fruit tree, I immediately started thinking of this as like that'd just be cute. You just down there waiting for the apple to fall, and like you can either go that thing's gonna destroy him, or he's gonna show some power packed in that 1 foot tall frame. So, so I thought this would be cute, and that's pretty much what idea I went with for that. Now, if I was to go with the berry bush, then yes, um, it definitely brings the perspective down to Ralts level. Um, if I was to do that, then kind of need. I'm really trying to just do a bush that's quick. La la la. Got to break up the edge. It can't be perfect, right? Some berries, obviously. Gonna put that a little too high. Higher than I thought. Mm, mm, mm. No, there is one thing I did not see join this evening. And I think that's... because I never told it to join the channel. Come on, let's do this right. There, it's already is. Alright. Do. Uh-oh. Oh, now I see how much of a delay there is. I see there's a long delay here. But, maybe this? Oh, you're cutting apples. Apple pie sounds great. Hey there, Phoenix. This is a one of the another Ralts. Just trying to get some of the ideas out and perspectives down. So we got that. Can we see the... You might see the back horn a little bit. So just a Pokemon and just really getting some of these rough sketches down. And bend that back a little bit more. Maybe I could have him up on his tippy toe, actually. Starting to have a very much a Powerpuff Girls kind of feel right now. Ralts? Yeah, Ralts doesn't sound as good as just Ralt. It is a tiny berry bush, but luckily I can do with the magic of digital. Because I need his hand to be closer than that, so I'm going to put on a different one. Now, Ralt's legs are not long enough, so that's one aspect. So let's see if we can stretch out their body. Now, the body itself, let's stay relatively. Again, the head is on a Ralt really big, so maybe do I have it going the wrong way? Do I have it? Does it need to be smaller? This is a very, very small bush. I do have something that's off about this perspective, I think. I think a lot of it has to do with where I have the hips positioned. The hips should be more so where that hand is. So the head is as wide as the legs usually end up being. I might also have the perspective wrong on that bottom leg, actually. I think I do, because it needs to be... See, yeah, but this has a very strong Powerpuff Girls feel, and it's because of those eyes. I swear. Well, maybe I could enlarge the head too. In comparison. Because the head is supposed to be really, really big. Good, us changing this all. Actually, I almost want to say this is like the chibi version of Ralt. That almost fits. I think that almost fits. That fits a lot better, actually. Of course, now the question is, it's a little bit more stale on the, I don't know how Rolt is holding things and trying to grab for more. It's a little bit less innocent because he's definitely trying to be very conservative and like, I got this nice little end and I'm stretching out my arm. Whereas for if I actually did more of like forward and like this, reaching out, trying to grab that berry, we could have a different dynamic where you kind of up on one foot, stretching out to grab the next one. That's like, I want this one, like passing of all these. I want this one. What kind of ideas? And I'm noticing right now that there's a tremendous lag in what you guys are seeing compared to what I'm actually saying and doing. I have to figure out how much. Do, 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 do. That could be a thing. Chibi Ralt, though. Why not just draw a bunch of chibi versions of Pokemon? Well, that's a good question. Because usually I'm up late still drawing something. I should probably take an evening and just well, especially because like Dead by Daylight, that's I think I'm only like level 4 or 5 on one of the survivors, and maybe level 3 on one of the killers in that game. I bought it and was like, I don't have anyone to play with, so you're right. I'm up for most evenings, especially if you just bombard me with messages like, "Hey, come join us! Hey, come join us!" Like, okay, I'll stop working. Because that was the only thing the reason why I didn't get into Dead by Daylight is that like it's like this is definitely more fun with friends instead of played by myself. And also, I have the tendency to scare the crud out of myself a lot, which I have Outlast and a bunch of other games that I should probably play, and everyone can watch me scream like a little girl when I play scary games. Yeah, if especially because most of the time I have was it Discord open and it's on the background. I hear chimes. Every so often I look over and I go, okay. It's not a direct message to me, but I'll see if there's any. As a matter of fact, I think it even plays a different sound when you direct message me. I might have to, like, especially because like it seems like a lot of people are about Dead by Daylight now for me. I guess I should be more scared, especially because now that October's around the corner, Halloween games, anything anything that inspires that idea is definitely a good idea. Um, I am now looking forward to playing Outlast. As a matter of fact, like I every time I look at it, it's like I can't even start the game without it just creeping me out. Because the worst time I pick a terrible time to play games. It's usually late at night I'm sitting in a basement, where this whole studio's been set up. So it's like I got my lights and everything on. You'd think I'd be really great, but the problem is like I can't see past the barrier of lights very well, and it's pitch black. So it does a nasty little effect of that scares me. That blackness that's beyond where I'm sitting, because there's nothing illuminating it, so I don't get light pollution from other things. So yeah, my little studio is enough to scare me. Because then I feel so isolated when there's so many lights on, and when I turn off the lights, it just gets darker in here. So, oh my gosh, phasmophobia. Yeah, that would be that. I just watched a video of that, of just like, I think it was on Steam. It's like, I put it on my wish list, but I am, uh, scary games already stressed me out. So that's why like Dead by Daylight was like, that's good because you can play with friends and it's all fun and games. But then you play a game where it's like my job is to scare you, and I go, I don't like my imagination at this point. It plays cruel tricks on me. But I love watching scary movies. I they don't trigger the same effect in my mind. Scary movies are amazing. I love them. They're like thrillers and like so many things. Like I love the mind games of those. But games that are going like I'm purposely gonna make a jump scare that makes you just pee yourself a little bit. That's the whole point of the game. I don't know, I kind of like this route. I just need to make a few more bushes in the back. See, I'm good with scary movies as the scary games. But yeah, it doesn't take much to get me to join a game if you just say, "Hey, we need a fifth." And it's like, okay. What's sleep anyways? I don't need it. But you're much braver than I, Liz. You definitely are. If you can watch a scary game, what am I doing? Why not? Because it doesn't show any of it. Because it disappears. I need to change that about that chat thing. I need to change that chat box. But yes, the scariest game you can play is Faz. Like I said, you're much braver than I just look at a video of that and it's like, I see stress. I see horrible amount of stress. Dead by Daylight does not trigger that in me. I mean, it's still kind of, you get these little jump scares even inside that game, but it's like, God, didn't listen, didn't hear that. The murderer came up behind me anyways. No. Goodness. I knew I was ready to snack. So I was like, gosh, I don't understand why my stomach's going, I want something. A lot of what would be seen in the back anyways. Is out to focus any. Game world. Puffy cloud looking trees. Oh, do they have a new season? Oh, you're looking at the first season? Yeah, because I've watched the. Sorry, Kayla. I watched the first 5 episodes. I've yet to jump back into it. Kayla all knows all too well the whole. I usually get 5 episodes deep into something and then it gets benched. Because then I go, I'm distracted. That's why I'm surprised I've gotten through some of the ones I have. But I've watched all of Kid Cosmic. And I think the art style in Kid Cosmic is just alluring. It's just absolutely beautiful. Hmm. That's what I thought. Really? Is it doing that to me now? That's what we there. Because fortunately, that's not incredibly appropriate even on YouTube. So please, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Because I don't need you over on YouTube saying disgusting things. So please don't. But yes, the art in Kid Cosmic is definitely one I really like. It has like an old newspaper kind of feel to it. Someone over on YouTube commented in a very inappropriate way. So I went over and I had to delete their message because it's not appropriate for this channel. So, and it looks like somebody purposely made their name even something to be disgusting. So they meant to be malicious and be nasty. So I'm just not gonna. I don't have to tolerate that at all. And I just, unfortunately, I had to go over and just delete it real quick because like I didn't want to hesitate. I didn't want to see it there anymore. It was just nasty. So yes, it's because I have 3 different chats because anyone can go from Facebook, Twitch, or YouTube. I have 3 different areas, which is why I need that chat box to work properly. But I have to figure out something with Streamlabs OBS to actually get that chat box to function over there. But at the same time, this almost works because if I had the chat box up, that would have been sitting up on the screen, and that's not something I want to deal with. But I mean, this looks very much like any of the other trading cards when you think about it. I think Ralts' body needs to be a little bit smaller or elongated. So yeah, that actually works, but I kind of do want to make it a little bit. Trying to find that balance. So yeah, because I have multi-chat, it does make it kind of a little bit more to watch everything from 3 different places. Which is why I've been really thinking of maybe just cut out Facebook and YouTube and just stream to Twitch and then use the YouTube channel to say, hey, here's clips. Hey, there's Nightbot. Finally working. How long has it been, Nightbot? Wow, Nightbot, you don't work on every hour? Psh. But yeah, I think we're getting definitely. Oh goodness, did I leave them all in? There he is. So you got that version. Which group? Group. Just because for my own sanity. Yeah, that one's not gonna work. So delete all the other Ralts. I'm wondering. Come on. So maybe this one? Maybe just keep working at this one, seeing if I can. Now I'm trying to make sure that this does fit the criteria of a trading card, though. So let's review it once again. Because what is this? This is 1080. 1080 by 680 is the size of theirs. Oh, neat. Smite tonight. I may have to join you guys in Smite then a little bit later, especially if I can. I would like to see me get this to ink ready, so I can just ink it on Thursday and color it out and really play with that. So probably color and then do some inking, and so that's my goal for tonight, though. That's really, I guess, that's my only real thing I'm trying to set for myself. GIC-CR.com. Okay, well then that's. So this illustration contest, so again, it does not open until October 14th. I said 16th so many times, my goodness. Inside the Q&A. Now they have two. They have the grand prize winner will be picked from those that submit in Japan and the U.S. And then the runner-ups can be either from. I think there's going to be two runner-ups, one from Japan, one from U.S. Please do not dress the Pokemon. So that's another aspect I can't do. You can't make a cute top hat Pikachu. Sorry, they don't want it. Draw trained ranger person. Yeah, you can draw the trainer person, but it has to be in the background. In landscape orientation. This is... Yep. So 1080, 680. Mm-hmm. There's also one aspect is that when I actually do this particular piece, it says it cannot be published is inside these Q&As. So if you do plan on doing it yourself, do not post it anywhere. Again, you can draw whatever you want in it. It just has to be in the day in the life of a Pokemon. Now, Windy? You know, there is one one thing I'm gonna have to do real quick. Because this is translating. And it shouldn't be translating. Should ask me. No, Google, I don't want you to do the translation. I don't want to hit that either. Alright, let me bring this up real quick. Let's try it again. I swear it asks you, is it English or is it... Wow, Google, you're overriding it. That's not fair. Google, you being a jerk. But I didn't know the Japanese name for... Oh my gosh, what is it? I can't even think of it. Think of the name. Growlithe is the smaller version. Arcanine. There we go. I could think of the pre-evolution name right away, but I couldn't think of the evolutionary. Do. So in this... So okay, it'll just be named Windy, because I can't get it to not. And then Scizor. And Ugg. Thank you, Google Translate, for this. Ugg. Cramorant is just Ugg, according to this translation it gives. When Gallop for Ponyta. But Bulbasaur, Charizard, Pikachu, and Greninja all come out correctly. Just those four do not get the appropriate translations. But this is the reference material they give you for these Pokemon. So you can see the original artwork. And then the 3D models that they have from a few different angles. They even have this. It's not a big deal if it doesn't have, but you can see like this particular person did a nice, I wonder if this is actually, this was a version from when they did the movie, Detective Pikachu. They probably could have had a version. And then you can see the Cutesy Eyes version. And then this looks like it's actually just the toy they snapped a shot of. And here's a nice little perspective of Bulbasaur, down from just, below the grass, upward. So, like, even looking at these should actually give a little bit of inspiration of, like, what kind of angles you might want to consider when you're doing your own. And, I mean, this one is taking quite a bit from just trying to be, like, here's an action shot, and let me just do, a kind of Dutch corner version of the landscape. Because it's really tilted the whole world. Actually, wondering how big is. So Bulbasaur is actually shorter, but that's probably because he's down on all fours. So I wonder how long Bulbasaur is in comparison. But he is a little shorter than our Ralt is. So that's one aspect. It's like looking at. Oh well, then let's look at Pikachu. Pikachu is 0.4. He is a little rat, ain't he? Wait, no, 0.4 meters. Let me get this right. Wait a second. 0.7 meters. Okay. Okay, we're looking at 0.7 out of, then that translates to 3 feet for 1 meter. 0.7 of, oh, he's a lot bigger. He's a lot bigger than Ralt. Ralt's a tiny one. Yeah, because that makes sense. 1.7 meter, yeah, definitely should be big. 0.4, then just over a foot. So even Pikachu's bigger than Ralt. Dang. Well, you one of the tiniest ones. Woo? What is this doing? Ugh, woo? Oh, look at that. Gekoroga? Gekoroga. Gekoroga. Assam. Gallop. Windy. But again, thank you. Thank you for the translate, Google. So, let's see the Pikachu ones, because this is closer to Ralt, to the height Ralt is. Of course, they'll definitely have more. Now, here's a very, very, what is it, cartoony perspective. So, yeah, they did have some cards inspired by that movie. That's where they're getting those 3D models. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this is like... No, that's not the original version. There's the original version of our Pikachu. So, now these ones are very interesting because, like, this one clearly has them breaking out of the frame. They don't want us to do that according to the FAQs, so we can't do something as fancy as this. They have to be contained in this nice 1080 by 680 framework. And see, here's another one, but it's a Pikachu one, but with friends. Oh, these all. Now, see, this is an interesting perspective that they even had the Bulbasaur similar one where it's very low to the ground and kind of highlights the Pokemon, and then everything else just kind of wraps around it in the background. I mean, essentially, maybe that's more of what I should do with the Ralt one then. Because, like, currently what I've done is really done, like, this kind of flat background similar to the original. Or even, like, this one, because it's, like, kind of a generic flat, let's draw 2 trees and a kind of a, like, what looks to be a beach behind it. Wow, that's a team up? I guess it is. And then there's a nice one. Just charge up for, is it either Volt Charge or a Thunderbolt? Now these two are looking almost more like Paichu. But I don't know. This particular version of Pikachu's card, and then along with even Bulbasaur's, are kind of, I think, kind of more of what I'm looking for. I'm trying to think of one of the what am I trying to think of? One of the cities is one of the cities in Pokemon has several. They always have skyscrapers, yes, but I'm wondering if one looks close to that of like New York City, because it'd almost be like having a Ralt there that's just gotten off a bus or wherever is just in the middle and everything's lit up. Of course, Ralt would be pretty well lost, but it'd be from just down underneath from Ralt's point of view, but you can see a giant skyscraper kind of disappear off into the sky. Yeah, if you can translate it, why not? Well, that one's a cute one. Cute perspective, no less. Everything's kind of curving away. Because it's all kind of curving still towards one point behind Pikachu. So I guess that's the one aspect that kind of reminds me of the previous one. Not you. Where everything kind of just wraps around the larger version of Ralt. Actually, the other version of Ralt is I could have Ralt just sitting here kind of groaning inside the little... with all the confectionery goodies eaten already. I would need Ralt to be a bigger portion of this particular picture, I think. And that's kind of where I'm thinking, like, if I have him up on tippy toe, trying to grab something that's a little bit further, higher up, while holding berries is one aspect. Sorry, microphone. Many things to consider. Realized I'd muted the desktop so you guys couldn't hear the beautiful music. Teknoaxe free for streamers. Don't sponsor me. They do not. I just like their stuff. Yeah, see, I guess I feel like I'm gonna have to keep playing with this regardless. Oh, it's only 8:30. Didn't ask you to open that up Windows. Well, I'm still curious. Is it saying only a tad paranoid that this is gonna flip over and say, "Oh no, you're playing Pokemon Unite still"? It's like, no, I'm not. Matter of fact. Just to ease my mind on this. Good, it does say art. Good, I am streaming to art, as I should. Just to... That's what I thought. Yeah, don't need that. So there we go. Excellent. Uh-oh. Well, I don't need to keep this open. So there we are. Okay, so that is... Day in the life of Ralt. Oops. Well. No, I'll just collapse the two. There, they're just one. If I were... that's I've already gone too big for the action. Because still needs a foot planted. Of course, his head's going to be way too big, so if I do that, it's definitely toppling over. Unless, again, we have body stretching, leg is positioned just below, which means that we have the other leg outstretched. One arm there, which then means the other arm. Is that right? So, little naff. I'm thinking I really do want to put more dynamic movement to this. So we're going to give Ralt that. Ralt already has. One berry there. You know what? Screw it. He is dropping one. Sorry, Ralt. You can't carry them all. You're getting a little too much. So, if your head's there, I have to tilt your head back, buddy. Otherwise, I need to put you forward. These have to be forward. Yeah, you know, that makes sense, because in order for Ralt's eyes to even be shown, his head has to be practically back. Or he has to be doing this and lifting up that hood to be seen. That's really what it comes down to. So, Ralt, your leg has to be underneath you. Again, it looks like it's a dress, so you're trying to kick out with the other leg. This is a stance I don't think I've seen Ralt sitting in. So let's really try to figure it out. I feel like does it? Of course, most of these Ralts also have. Kind of like this trail that's behind them. It's almost two. Trying to keep your head back, so How much? We got quite a bit. So the ice will be seen. And then we have that horn. Just falling off the screen. Oh, this is pretty. Right? So we got. Because we're losing so much of that other side of the head. That's quite a bit of emphasis on this. And it's just so it. So this is. I got quite a few lines that are actually kind of losing it. Fortunately, I feel like I'd be losing the other eye pretty. Is that right? Maybe? Either way, I have a long outstretched hand. Again, that's when you're drawing a Ralt, it just feels like Powerpuff Girl. It really feels like Powerpuff Girl. Arm is definitely too short. So how do you compare? Actually, I'm gonna have to cut out the other one real quick. So I can plop it in place, see what it looks like. Turn that off. Now, I do like this more than the previous, just because there's more action to it. And because of that, I do enjoy it. It's not quite this one. Even though I could add that nice glowiness to it. But that's in the coloring phase. Gotta have that tongue sticking out. It's the extra effort and balance, because he's sticking it backwards. Like I said, there's a closer one, but he's clearly going, that doesn't look ripe enough. That doesn't look is good. Drawing in the berries first. Do. And do. So this bush is going to be the closest object. Then I'll have to consider what else do I have? There we go. If we get... Oh, that's too much curve. Actually, I do want to move. Um... Really? I guess I'm really trying to draw out even this background on this particular one. Keeps feeling like this might be the way. I definitely need to clean up the Ralt quite a bit. I'm thinking that'll be the main work. But if I can do a background and just keep drawing Ralt till I get them just how I want them. That's one thing. And a lot of times I end up forgetting about backgrounds and going, oh yeah, I should have done that before I got into the fun aspect of what I want to do, which is draw the character. Because, you know, it's always fun to draw the character a lot more so the background. But the background itself is its own character. It just requires a lot more fleshing out the idea. I mean, like, I have these berry bushes and I have to consider, like, well, how many berries is too many berries? Yeah, no. At the same time, like that, I need to push the perspective in such a way that's when it's closer, there's a bit more dynamic aspect. Because right now my Ralt is flat. I don't like how flat he is. I need more. I need more. Some branches. Comes out of us. Let's go that way. Grass. And this is part of my reasoning is that I do want to so this is so close then. And just drawing some bark. Is this, yeah, this is all on one right now. So if I draw anything in front of Ralt, I need to make sure it's in front of Ralt. Ha ha ha. You're fine, Phoenix. I usually end up doing the same thing while I'm working as listening to you and everyone play a game while I'm drawing. So I don't blame you. If I draw this grass, then I need to change the perspective of my roll. I definitely need to change it. Yet more changes. Yeah, because you can't have something that close without it making sense. This is kind of acting as a means of cutting off the having a foreground and then Ralt. And if I have everything wrapping around Ralt in such a way, I then need to make sure it's looks appropriate. And I think I'll do more so like with the grass as more of, it should be out of focus, so it'll be more of like just painted in kind of coloring. So I'm trying right now because it's going to be darker, because Ralts is going to be the highlight, so my grass is going to be of darker colors to kind of fade away in a sense, because the lighter colors should kind of push further forward. Oops, didn't mean to hit that button. Give me back the blue I was working with. And just to make it just because I'm not going to keep drawing the same thing over and over again. I'm just going to it's only for effect to get the idea. So if I have that in front, I need my Ralt to change quite a bit. Yeah, and I need to cut them out of that. Okay, the berry's coming along. Oh, don't even have the right layer. But paste you back in. To the point where I can go, boom. Alright, if I have you from the perspective, everything's particular. I have things raining down. See, suddenly now I have to make the feet really huge or the same size as the head, which then doesn't make it... then becomes a little too weird. Because I'm doing the same thing where I was when I drew the apple, where I did it from the Ralts is very small, the apple's very large. Now I'm trying to do the, what is it, a heroic stance, I guess, where you look up from underneath. I might have to take some liberty just to get this to work. But I don't want it to not fit. So we've got a Ralt head. So huge. So then we got a Ralt body. So, from what I know about Ralt is the legs are not separated. It did describe it as it looks like a dress. That Ralt is wearing, wears. So if that's the case, then I have this. That almost makes... So, Ralt, your head is so... I think you have to roll your shoulder into it. So, we are getting more... There we go. But, shoot. Shoot! 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 Trying to get another berry that looks like it's falling from their hands. Would it be no? Because then that would show that the motion was the leg. It's not. Maybe we just take that out because it looks like it's just gonna come up and then kind of wrap around toward the back, anyways. Right? Got that to translate that yes, there's two legs that look like they're being separated because it does kind of have a dip in to its legs, so we gotta show that somehow. Getting the bottom part of so as for this horn though. Trying to get the cap look. comes around. Flip it. This kind of helps with making the curve on the other side. I seem to be favoring a particular angle. And if we have that, these are the change in cap. Now this is looking a lot better than the previous version already because it's a lot more dynamic appeal to it. It's trying, the Ralt is really trying to do something more by keeping its balance then too. I just really want to get the Ralt die in it. There. Like I said, Powerpuff Girl is definitely what it's feeling like. Let's see what we can do. Might have to change that leg. But the legs, or the more so the arm, but the legs should be as wide as the head. In this case, they need to be a little bit wider. That's the reason why I'm doing this, but the I like it. Hey. Heard that. Thanks, Teddy, for the like. I definitely need to work on the background a little bit more. Get more trees in there. Just have it flesh out and just kind of fade away to the back. But so we got that version, and we got this version. Seems like he'd have to put his shoulder into it just because like his arms are short. If he's trying to do this, it's just a little too much. Whereas if you're doing this, you get a little bit more extension out of trying to push your shoulder out to it. Just a little bit more. By twisting the body into the action, you're like, ah, and that's kind of what I'm trying to get, is this really strong, dynamic stretch out. Might need a, you know what? That's already kind of like clicked. It's like, oh, maybe we need to consider it might end up not being. Because now if I do this, I have Ralt. The Ralt head is now properly balanced over the top of the front leg. Because otherwise, he's already overstretched and overreached with the head being so far to the left. So this is even thinking about like the weight and animation. Like when you try to keep yourself balanced, you keep your center of gravity. So if my head and my leg are the first thing forward and I'm kicking my leg out to keep me balanced, I might be tilted a little bit forward with my leg out, but I don't know. It's kind of like Ralt is kind of top heavy. So if that's the case, I could do something like that. His head should still be out a little bit. Well, see, again, it just could be me overthinking. Nah, I do want it turned. The whole reason why you're kicking out the leg is to keep yourself counterbalanced. So you should feel a little bit off-center just for that purpose. Your head is heavy, but you're then kicking your leg out to kind of counter the weight that it's doing. Yep, even the tongue's out to kind of have that feeling of I'm trying to counter this movement. I don't know, the head almost still feels like it should be bigger. Let's do this. Let's copy you. And let's see what a bigger head version really looks like. Come in here. Okay. Actually, that's starting to look a lot closer to even the Ralt portions. Which unfortunately then puts us back at... Put the tilt down there. Daddy Bush. Daddy Bush. Well, it definitely feels more. I don't know, something still feels off, I guess. Gonna have to keep playing with these angles. I think it looks pretty cute, just as cute as the other scene. Group y'all together as one. So you got that one. That's just the bush. There's this. There's that original. And all the little Ralts. Again. Looking at this one in particular. There we go. This one felt like it could always use its head to be so much larger, which it really should be. Because that's practically what it should be. Roll. Because that's the proper proportions. That's technically the proper version. Because that head is showing about being as wide as, or if not a little bit wider than the legs. The other versions look very much more like the evolutions that Ralt becomes, because their head doesn't become as big as their body, and they're oversized for the body. Ralt looks like this has a baby kind of big head, kind of smaller body. It's just Well, I'm rounding the 3-hour mark. Haven't taken a break. I definitely feel antsy about about going to the bathroom. So then this is oh, of course. Oh, I'm now seeing. There we go. As we got our reference. We got this Ralt, which I very much like. This is here's another version where he's definitely the hero, definitely a large in charge. Falling apple for our Ralt. It's a background which I was using, then I changed it up to get more. Instead of flat background, went with a little bit more rounded. Everything kind of wrapping around, which makes a lot more sense, because having the background kind of assist in the framing is one aspect I'm trying to think of, and if I have the trees wrapping around, kind of going to this vanishing point that's, what is it? They're all aiming these directions. Like this tree is that, this tree is that, this tree is that. So if I have everything kind of going to the vanishing point that's like really, really far up there, really, really far off my screen. That's kind of what I'm getting at with a lot of these. And that this already adds so much more dynamic feel to Ralt. I just need to get the right version of what Ralt looks like at this particular different angle, because that's one thing is like there's several of them where he's more reserved, more kind of quiet, and like there's very much a lot of reference that I get that's that instead of this boisterous one, this kind of joyful one. Different personality type is what I'm trying to go with, especially because that's a big factor in a lot of Pokemon. As a matter of fact, actually, maybe that's one aspect I should look into is for some inspiration is how does Ralt, like what would be a good personality for a Ralt, and maybe see if that can help me, because those play in what your strengths and weaknesses on your stats, and I definitely would feel like Ralt, because Ralt has more physical if it's the male version, and if it's the female version, they have more special attack. I think that's kind of the dynamic between the two. So that definitely plays into the type of personality this mini Ralt, this first version of Ralt before it becomes Gardevoir, or I can't remember the other one. Gardevoir is the female third evolution. I do not know what the male evolution is. It does not come to me. I fail at naming Pokemon. I can recognize their silhouettes. Yeah, but this doesn't help when you can't say their name. Oh, I know that one. It's number... no. So, I may not have finished it during stream, but I definitely plan on putting a lot more work tonight, tomorrow, and that way on Thursday I can just kind of ink it and color it with everyone and just kind of finish this piece up and move on to another one. I definitely want to keep working on more Pokemon as I continue on. So being that, I definitely need to figure out a few other Pokemon. I already have listed, so Golurk, no. Golurk. Yeah, Golurk. There's no R, it's Golurk. Golurk is definitely another one. And this is going from a huge dynamic, because now we're going from something that's about a foot tall to something that's possibly like 2 meters tall, maybe 3 meters tall. I just know it's a really big one, and it might be one of the tallest, not the tallest. I think a lot of legendaries have that in their bag, and Arcanine is by far one of the tallest. I think they even said like 1.9 meters. He's almost full 6 foot, just from like paw to head. So, size bigger than a horse, because bigger than the Galarian Ponyta, definitely, which is 1.7 meters. But yeah, this Ralt being a foot tall and then trying to go to a dynamic of something that's like a couple meters tall, I think, is going to be quite a testament. But that's also another thing. Like you got Bulbasaur and you got Pikachu. Bulbasaur being 0.7 meters, Pikachu 0.4 meters. Then you have Charizard is 1.7 meters. You have, I think, Greninja's 1.5 meters. So he's not as tall as Charizard, but he's definitely tall. Not full 6 foot, but definitely tall. And what is it? Cramorant. Oh, how much was he only? And he's only one evolution. I think it was. The only number that comes to mind is 0.4, so he's rather large too. So there's like Pikachu and Bulbasaur are the two smallest ones. Everyone else is relatively large, because the Scizor is 1.8 meters. Arcanine is 1.9 meters. And these are out of the Pokemon you can pick, which is, again, Bulbasaur, Charizard, Pikachu, Arcanine, Galarian Ponyta, Scizor, I almost have Crimorant and Greninja. That's all I know. So again, if you too are working on one or want to work on one, please do. I would also love to see it if you have a chance. So if you want to join the stream and send it on over, I can always invite you to the Discord, which again I'm still working on getting it kind of fleshed out and working how I want. I should just open it up and see if I can get it to work as people break it, that kind of thing. Maybe that's what it will do. Something breaks and then I go, okay, I need to add this. So it's definitely something I want to work on, especially because like and one of the bigger things is definitely working on comics. It's going to be more of my main focus. But this is a nice little challenge because this also allows me to think about framing and perspective. And so this is just kind of like a more of a test doing the Pokemon, trading cards and trying to get a few designs in and see how I feel about certain perspectives. But this Ralt one, after going through so many things, because we went through a lot on Thursday, we went through a lot today, I'll go through and finish up what I can and have it ready by Thursday to just ink and color and kind of just have us have a relaxing evening of that. So again, if you like what you saw, please hit a like, follow, especially to allow other people to find this kind of material. It helps tremendously if you have the opportunity. Just hit that like, or hit again, follow if you're on Twitch, and especially like on YouTube. Likes are good. Subscriptions, please. So, again, I don't charge anything for any of this. I'm not expecting to do any of that any at all. But I do appreciate you when you guys can join in. Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Kayla, for both joining me in the chat today, and especially also thank you, Phoenix, again. You're an awesome streamer. I plan on jumping over and seeing how things are going for you, because I think it'd be great to just raid you. I think you're on. I have everything suppressed, so I can't hear notifications. Yeah, there it is. So, okay, I'm gonna go read Phoenix. Do. X. So again, thank you for joining. And as I like to always say, this is the BoogieMan dancing on out of here. I'll catch you critters later. Bye. Bop, bop, bop. Just but it's considered the most powerful cup of coffee by their standards.
The most powerful cup of coffee? I need that in my life.